What is going on, guys? Welcome to Gupper's videos. My name is indeed Kyle Gupper, and today I'll be reviewing Justice League. This is one of my most anticipated DC films of all time. I'm talking about comparing to The Dark Knight and all those other films. Any DC movie that has ever come out. I loved Justice League, the animated show, and then Justice League Unlimited. I grew up watching those shows, and I watched them recently, and they hold up fantastically. They got a lot of mature content in there, while still keeping the kid-friendly fun in there, and it's a good time. And the DCEU, no surprise, has been having some problems recently with the fan score and the critic score always being divisive, and it's sad to say that Justice League is another one of those films that's divisive, but I'm proud to say I actually really did enjoy this movie. Sure, I'm going to state a lot, and I mean, there's a lot of problems with this movie, but at the end of the day, I didn't want a phenomenal story. I would like to have one, but I didn't need one. I just wanted to have fun. Let me say some of the negatives first before I get into some of the really nerdy shit. One thing I really did not like is the beginning of how unfinished it felt. This is, like, a lot of people were bitching and complaining, it's only 2 hours, what are we going to do? I was like, listen, some films require to be 2 hours. You can't extend it. That was one of my problems with BVS and a couple other movies in general. You don't need it to be more than 2 hours. This movie did. This movie really did, because it felt rushed in the beginning. It felt very choppy. Going from scene to scene felt very weird. It felt like a comic book in a bad way. It just felt very off, to say the least. Another problem is the Justice League members. The Justice League members were not set up properly. And this is one of those times I wish they would either spend a lot more time setting up in the first half, or they would have waited for Justice League and then set up their own movies first, then have a Justice League, like what Marvel did with the Avengers. Not saying that's how it always will work, but I'm saying that's what they should have done. Either that, or set up more time, because there's things in there that I would understand, like with the Flash backstory. Like, people who watch the TV show or know Flash, they can put the pieces together, but not everyone can. Same thing with Aquaman, same thing with Cyborg. They don't know what's going on. They just kind of rush in there and say, hey, the fans will get it, that's good enough for us, and they just moved on. It's just a hot mess, story-wise, and then the villain is pretty shit. He's just a big guy with big muscles who punches things. They try to give him a backstory. I mean, they did try, and it was... Remember Hela? I told you her backstory was kind of weak. Hela's was basically the same backstory, but stronger. They gave her a purpose. This villain, Steppenwolf, didn't really have a purpose. I want to conquer! But why? Other than that, the huge story problems and the rushness in the first half, the movie is one hell of a time. And I mean, I never thought I would be laughing my ass off. I mean, it's a DCEU movie. I don't have to laugh, but I was laughing my ass off. And I was having a great time seeing these characters interact for the first time. No surprise, there's going to be some spoilers here, but I mean, it's no surprise Superman is back. And when he's back, it has one of the most badass scenes I've ever seen. Ever. You guys know what I'm talking about if you've seen the movie. If you haven't, you're just going to have to wait and see. This is by far the best Superman Henry Cavill's ever done. It's beautiful in all the right ways, and it's fantastic. I loved it. The Flash is hilarious. I loved him, and like, he could have been easily the most OP Justice League member, and then they had to nerf him in a way to, like, where he is just a street rep guy where he just runs and pushes people. He's not a combat ready kind of kid, and they kind of really initialized that in the final fight, and I was kind of glad with that, because he's still new to the game, and I was glad to see that. Cyborg, I wish there was a lot more of him. Like I said in my complaints with the movie, he was just there to say techie things, and he had a couple initial roles that, you know, make him important to the story, but that was it. There was a cool little banter between Cyborg and Flash. I'm not going to explain the scene, but they had a cool little banter, and I heard there was supposed to be a Cyborg Flash buddy cop-like movie, and after seeing that scene, I was like, it can work. Aquaman easily stole the show for me. He's like, I don't give a shit kind of attitude. He's badass, and you can tell Jason Momoa is having a blast with this role. Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, she has one of the best action sequences in the beginning of the movie like I've ever seen in a DCEU movie. It's like very, 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 very short, but it's still very badass. I just loved it. So overall, it's a fun, entertaining movie that you can just sit back, relax, and have fun with. I just don't. I think having a 48% on Rotten Tomatoes is a little harsh. I mean, a little harsh. I mean, I could see 55 or 60, but 48 is a bit too low for me. By the way, guys, there's 2 end credit scenes that you gotta stay for. The final one is by far my favorite. I actually started screeching like a little girl. With the people next to me were screeching like little girls. It's a nerdy, good old time. I also wanted to say that there are some characters that are going to make cameos in here that only the true fans are going to know. When I mean the true fans, I mean the guys who flip the comics around and all other happy shit. I'm going to give this movie 3 out of 5 stars. Thank you guys for watching. I want to hear your thoughts down below. I have a Twitter, Instagram, Gumps_videos. Go follow me there for the latest news and updates on my channel. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, subscribe, and like crap. Later and goodbye.